December 28th, 2025. It's a Sunday. I'm in Norwich, Connecticut at the Shell gas station in Norwich town. And I'm going to do a drive. I did a drive yesterday because of the snow. I want to capture all that. And I'm going to do another drive and capture more areas. We haven't lost any snow. Normally there's melting and all this type of stuff, but man, I tell you, it's been so cold. We haven't lost, and not even an eighth of an inch. I mean, I looked at my bird bath. I think there was probably 6 inches of snow on that bird bath, and it's identical today. So it hasn't been windy. The temperature's been in the, I don't know, mid-20s. Overnight it was in the teens. So we haven't lost anything. So I'm going to try to, I'll drive around some different areas that I didn't cover yesterday of the aftermath of this snowstorm we had a couple of days ago. And it's overcast. I mean, I don't have a lot of opportunity in the winter. I mean, traditionally I haven't done a lot of winter drives, but if the opportunity presents itself, then I'm going to grab it if I can. I'm on West Town Street at the moment. And it's, 27 degrees, whatever. I mean, it's cold. It's definitely below freezing. And it's a perfectly overcast day for recording video. If the sun comes out brightly, if it breaks through, I may have to do some editing, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Iliano's looks like they got a pretty good crowd there to the right. Brick and Basil Wood Fire Pizza looks crowded, as always. And yesterday I was able to use this camera on my car uninterrupted. It did not shut off. Normally it shuts off in the bitter cold, but I'm using a different wire to connect the external battery to the camera. And if it works today, then the 2 in a row at painfully cold temperatures, then that means problem solved. This is the Yantic Village. I'm just going to do a very quick cruise around territory I didn't cover yesterday. But I love this little village, and I want to grab some footage. There's that absolutely beautiful former, mill or whatever it was. They're redoing that into either, let me see, it looks like new windows, either condominiums or apartments or whatever it is. They've been actively working on that. To the right is Yantic Fire Department, another beautiful building. Terrific fire company right there. All right, so I can't go in the parking lot. There's really no need for anybody to plow. Wow, it looks like they're building some kind of an exterior electrical, or maybe, I don't know, some kind of a, power station. This is Yantic Road, according to my GPS. It's a dead end. It's a little rough down here, but I'll turn around. Please don't be a litter bug. Okay. Well, let's see if we can get a look at the Yantic River. Wow, it seems to be flowing pretty good. So right over there is the Yantic River. And it's really, really bitter cold right now in that river. And there's, I think it's called Fireman's Field. The Yanick River, you can't see it from here, but it's just beyond that field. Good fishing down there. I'm going to avoid driving on, actually right there, that's worth taking a look at. Looks like they put a new electrical panel in there. That's Juicy's, former Maple Shade, Log and Lantern Cafe. Legendary place. I don't know, maybe somebody's doing something. Wouldn't that be cool? But anyways, there's that to the right, that, you know, factory or mill or whatever it was. Love that building, that stone construction. Let me point this in a direction of there's a train trestle down there. I gotta get off these tracks. And again, that beautiful fire station, fire company. You know, I should go over this little bridge they have up here, Sunnyside Street. It's a very cool, it's one way. I mean, it'll accommodate one car at a time, right here. Kind of cool. Let me cruise real slow. Snow-covered stonework. This thing's, I don't know, early 1907 or something. There's a stone that's carved, engraved with the date on there. I'll try to see the exact date. I gotta be careful. Man, I don't know. This train track is I don't know if it's active or not, but it's kind of, snow is kind of piled up a bit there. I'm just gonna turn around. Railroad crossing right there. You can see the snow. I mean, I guess the train could, bash its way through that, but so yeah, we stop here, and if there's a car coming in the opposite direction, I obviously wait for that. All right, let me see this plaque or this carved date. It could be covered up with snow. I don't. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. All right, 1908. So that bridge right there that we just drove over was built in 1908. Very nice church up on top of that hill there. Very quiet little village, very peaceful. You can see the sheer kind of cliff. I mean, that's all to the right there. That's all drilled out. And the ice, big sheets of ice coming out of that rock formation over there. It's an artificial, it's not a natural cliff. That was when they constructed the highway, or they extended some of the, I don't know, ramps or exits or whatever they did up there. Let's turn on to Otrabando. I didn't do that yesterday. But anyways, they did a lot of drilling, blasting, and all that. Very beautiful house to the right with a gorgeous wall with the snow and everything. It's real New England charm, that's for sure. And we'll do a slow roll down Otrabando Avenue. Actually, can I turn in here? This is interesting. Right there, directly in front of us, that little tiny building was constructed for the movie Everybody Wins, starring Deborah Winger and Nick Nolte. This used to be a, greenhouse back there and flowers and garden center. It was very popular. It was a restaurant, Mrs. B's restaurant. It was a lot of different things. I don't know what happened financially with that, the fate of the garden center there. It was, as far as I can remember, it seemed really popular whenever we would go there, but whether they retired or I don't know specifically what happened, but back in the day, that was a lot of fun going there. So this is Contrabando Avenue. Let's cruise down. This is U.S. Food, massive warehouse. What does it say? U.S. Foods, keeping kitchens cooking. I think this started out as Aero Paper, if I'm not mistaken. And it's expanded into a, food distribution or whatever they do in there. I don't know. I would assume it's some kind of a central hub for transporting a variety of different foods. All right, Hyde's Home and Farm. I don't think I can. Maybe I can get you a look at this. Wow, somebody actually plowed this little section out. Oh, because there's a storage facility down there. Right there. That used to be, what was the name of that? Agway. That was Agway. It was also, Hyde's. Maybe for a year or two, Agway went out of business, or at least in that location. And Hyde's took over, but it didn't profit enough to stay in business, apparently. So trying to think here. I didn't do a ton of right straight through a stop sign. Interesting. Well, nobody can say I don't roll through stop signs. All right, let's see here. Norwich Little League Field. We get a quick glance at it. The parking lot's not plowed. Right there, Norwich, home of the Norwich Little League. Bunch of baseball fields up there. We turn around, get a look at the new, it's an older building, but it's been completely rehabbed top to bottom right there. Norwich Veterinary Hospital. It's really, really incredible care they give to animals in there. And the fact that it went from just a brick building into a totally rehabilitated, top of the line everything is impressive. As we cruise down Contrabando Avenue, looking at all the snow. And this would also second as a extreme stress test for my camera. Day 2 of testing whether this thing can take absolutely punishing low temperatures and survive and not shut off as we gather beautiful footage on Contrabando Avenue. So we covered a snowy Contrabando from one end to the other. I didn't miss any of it. All right, stop, go. And we will hit this section of New London Turnpike. I'm trying to think of different areas to cover that I didn't do yesterday, but there's some pretty cool scenery back here. Let me take a drive down Dudley Street. I think if I'm not mistaken, like there might be a nice farm down here. We might be able to get some, kind of like a wider landscape. So this is Dudley Street. There was a really, pretty hardcore weather alert today about cautioning people about black ice. So, I'm definitely heeding that warning. I don't want to, lose control of the vehicle on a stretch of black ice, but these roads are very gritty. There's a lot of grab to the gravelly, kind of effect, as opposed to some of these newer style of paving. Like, what did they do recently? Part of Asylum Street. It's like buttery, glassy, smooth, which I like. I prefer that. But, for the snow, a textured road such as this is definitely, the safer of the two options. And that's just with regards to black ice and that type of situation. But this is still Dudley Street. This is kind of, you're out in the wilderness, but you're 30 seconds away from New London Turnpike. It's kind of interesting. All right, so there's a farm to my right. I can't pull in there. Hopefully you can see that building. And there's, big field. There's the farmhouse to the right there. I don't know if they grow corn. I seems like a cornfield, but at one time I think they had cows, and there's part of it. It's a school now. Let me see if I can get up there. I'll take a look at this Montessori Discovery School. I'll just whip through this parking lot. But this was kind of a building that was part of a barn, but they redid it right there. They redid it top to bottom, obviously, and it's now Montessori School. So somebody plowed this thing out. Did a beautiful job. Actually, pointing down this way, we'll get a good look at that farmland. It's an unusual place for a farm. Norwich, it's probably really old. It goes way, way back. As a matter of fact, let me think here. Yeah, I'll go on New London Turnpike. All right, change of heart. I'm going to go back on. Turn around. There's nobody coming. was one heck of a turn. Whoa. All right, we made it. Something just kind of struck me. I think there's another bit of farmland down here. So this is Gifford Street. Right here. This is Gifford, off of Dudley. Kind of slushy, you can hear that. I mean, again, the chemicals that they use when they put on the road melts everything that touches it. So that's even despite having freezing temperatures, you still have melting. So we got Greenbrier Road to the right, that neighborhood. Hopefully this microphone is picking up some of the ambient sound of me going over this kind of slushy, icy, texture of this road here. Cherry Hill area, Stony Ridge Road to the right. Okay, to the left up here used to be a farm. Yeah, I think, let me see here. You can see, I mean, there's kind of greenhouse. Yeah, there's horses out there. So yeah, it's still an active farm of some sort, I believe. I think it could be just vegetables, and I'm not sure, 100% sure what they grow there, but there's a big field with several horses back there and a barn and also kind of an open area that they have fenced in for those horses. So Glenwood Avenue to the left, to the right was Cherry Hill Road. So that's, again, the Cherry Hill neighborhood. To the left, I don't know if you can see anything over that wall there. It's kind of tight. That used to be Ford's Pond. They would fill that, the city of Norwich would, I don't exactly know how they filled it, or dammed something, or whatever they did. It was very low, and people skated there. Sherwood Lane to my right. Okay, there's another farm to the right over there. There's cows. I can see them from here. They're laying down. There's a couple of them on their feet, but some they're black cows. But it's all overgrown to the left, and that was Ford's Pond. Everybody skated. They're back in the, 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, probably 80s. I don't know if those are cows, steers, whatever they are. I'm trying to figure out the safest way to go, because I don't want to get this lens on this camera splattered with, actually, right to the left is like Ford's Pond, where people used to gather, right there to the left. There used to be a small building. People would sit in the building, put their skates on, and there seemed to be a little stream. I think they dammed it up, and that helped, form Ford's Pond. I'll get out. I'll take a right, head down portion of New London Turnpike I didn't cover yesterday. Again, I got to be very mindful of not getting this camera splattered. I was coming home yesterday on the highway, and at the dead end of the video, there was, as predicted, fine particles sprayed, behind big 18-wheeler Mack trucks and all this type of thing, I was getting sprayed with very fine particles that, if they're on the lens, they put a haze over the video. It's just, it kind of ruins. I'm glad it was at the end of the video, because if it happened in the beginning, the whole video would have been destroyed. I wouldn't have known about it. You can judge a lot by the windshield. Like my windshield right now is perfect, so that's a good sign. We're on New London Turnpike right now. If I took a left, that would be West Main Street. Speed limit here is actually 25 miles per hour. This street hasn't changed much since I was a kid. I mean, the houses on both sides, the width of the street, all looks the same. Obviously some changes to the college, community college down here on the, I'll pull in, take a cruise around the college campus. And we'll take a look at it on the snow. Boy, I tell you, you got to hand it to whoever plowed these roads and these parking lots. I mean, talk about meticulous. I mean, this is a case study in plowing perfection. So right there is that community college. Used to be Thames Valley, I think. And Norwich Tech, the high school, Norwich Regional Vocational Technical School, was on these grounds, but it was demolished and a parking lot was put down. And they rehabbed this college right here, Three Rivers Community College. They rehabbed it top to bottom, inside and out. And I'm driving like right over what would have been Norwich Tech. But if you want to see how to plow, what it looks like for plowing perfection, you just witnessed it. I'm going to point this camera at that house. I always liked that house right there across the street. Very cool. I remember when that house, I don't know what year it was, went up for sale. It was $99,000. Imagine that. In the age of, $300,000 starter homes, that was a $99,000 house. Let's take a ride up Melrose Park. There it is, the snow-covered Melrose Park. Now there's a center, kind of you see that field in the center, that area that people used to play football there, baseball, soccer, just, kids in the neighborhood. Just fun, normal stuff before, social media basically took every kid on the planet off the street and put them in their bedroom staring at their phones. That's the old days were kids playing football, pickup game of basketball or, baseball, whatever, fishing, all this type of stuff. But now Back there to the between the houses is Malherbe's Field. They used to have strawberries. There's a pond back there. There used to be a pond. I don't know if it's still there. I can see, I mean, I'm looking, I have the luxury of looking over to my left, and I see greenhouses and things like that from Malherbe's farm. But boy, you know, I'm not sure that pond is still there. It was a kind of a, they used it in emergencies, like droughts and things. Malherbe's would, there was a pumping station on the end of that pond, and they would water the fields. I don't know if that pond's still there. They may have buried that thing, you know, buried it over. I'm not sure. It didn't look like it was there anymore. So that's Melrose Park. Let me get back on to New London Turnpike. And there is Malherbe's farm. Let me pull in there if I can, if it's plowed, just to get a look at it. You know, the snow and everything. Yeah, it's beautifully plowed. But there it is, right there. Let's get as close as we can to this thing. Malherbe's flower, vegetable, plants, fresh fruit, vegetables. You can see plants in there right now in that greenhouse. A kind of a legendary Norwich establishment. A place that if you live around here, you gotta go there. If I took a right, there's an ice rink down there. Skating, indoor, city of Norwich, the rink. You can skate in there. Wow, whole field full of, that'd be a good photograph. Big white snow field full of Canadian geese back there on the Norwich golf course. I'm driving right through, to the right and left is the Norwich 18-hole golf course. Let me see if I can pull in here. Now, this is a place that, there's a restaurant and things. Wow, this kid's sliding. I can only get so close. But there's a big hill. Perfect place for sliding. I'm not sure we got enough snow, but there's people there, so obviously somebody's working it. And if you walk straight, like way over, straight ahead, I mean, it would be a decent walk from here. That's where Suicide Hill was. So you can see these people. Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of kids way over there. So they're kind of leading over to, people are still using Suicide Hill. That's good to see for my, purposes. I've slid down there when I was a kid. So all these cars are for sledding. That is good news. I mean, this Norwich golf course is, wow, this guy's sledding down there. This Norwich golf course is a sledder's dream, if you don't mind, walking through the snow. I mean, this kid's right across the way there. I'm not going to drive down there, but they're sliding down a hill. I don't see any sleds. Back in the old days, we had the, like wooden slats with a couple of metal rims on it. You would kind of wax the bottom of the thing and you'd slide down the hill. The new ones are these well, there's a couple of conventional sleds. The new ones are these plastic, flat plastic. Right there, see? Those flat plastic. But that guy's got conventional, old school sleds. Glad to see that. If I was really adventurous, I'd grab my walking around camera and come down here and film people sliding. I don't think I've ever seen footage of people sliding down Suicide Hill. Oh, wow, I can tell from here. A lot of people sliding, and Suicide Hill's got people on it too. The reason they call it Suicide Hill is when you're standing on the top of the thing looking straight down, it's like, am I going to survive this thing? I mean, you know, is going down this hill basically suicide? I'm going to take a quick cruise up Old Fitchville Road here for a second, work my way back over to... I'm trying to look to the right. I think through these houses I can see Suicide Hill. Yeah, there's actually a little old ancient cemetery to the right there. But if I kept walking, if you take a hard right, I mean, we're going straight, but if you took a hard right, if I parked here and took a hard right, you would go right smack into Suicide Hill. Probably you'd be mid-hill. .2:44 p.m. right now, as we slowly cover the snowscape in the Norwich, Connecticut area. I mean, technically, I think I might be in Montville or Uncasville right now. It's the border is tricky. Wow, there's that Mohegan Sun Tower right there. Pretty good view. I mean, it's obstructed a little bit by those, I don't know what they are, abrevieties or whatever. But it's there. There it is, way in the distance. Right there. Mohegan Sun Tower. I'm going to go back onto New London Turnpike. I covered West Thames Street yesterday. I'm just trying to think of... I didn't really do Laurel Hill, but it's to get over to Laurel Hill's tricky from here without me going over the bridge, which... that's going to be a problem. I'm going to get my camera's going to get all destroyed. It's, you know, people driving 65, 70 miles an hour. It's going to splatter the lens of this camera. It's going to ruin things. So I can't approach it that way. I could go through the city. If I want to cover Laurel Hill. All right, let's see. Man, oh man, it's tricky. Billy Pitcher's pond to the right. It's not much of a pond these days. It's more of a stream, but, you know, the conditions are right. There's a pond to the right-hand side. Camera still appears to be on and operating properly. So this it's a pretty intense stress test. See the hill to the left, that really tall hill? That's kind of the beginning of Suicide Hill in a way, and it's part. I mean, that's not the exact starting point, but it's close. And it goes straight down. I've done it many, many times a long time ago. I don't know if you can see kids to the left through those trees sliding up and down. There's not quite enough snow. I mean, they're sliding, but you can see some grassy areas in there, unfortunately. So it's, I would say, not optimal at the moment, but it's good to see the art of sliding down Suicide Hill is still a thing. Alright, let me try to... I'm going to try to finesse my way over to Laurel Hill. So that means I got to get down city. I'm going to do that in such a fashion as to avoid getting this camera splattered with dirty road grime. And Three Rivers Community College to the right. Still got the overcast skies. It's perfect for me filming. 2:48 p.m. So yeah, I'm going to try to cover Laurel Hill. I'll just get down the main drag. Maybe I'll pull into one or two different areas depending on whether they're plowed, and then I'll head back home. I may actually risk going back home on the highway because it could be dry today. You know, there may be right on red here, but I don't think it's worth it. Let me let these guys... All right. East Great Plains Fire Department directly in front of us. All right, I got to step lightly down here. Universal Discount Package Store. It's been there since I was a kid. It used to be a grocery store. Well, the bank says 37 degrees. I don't know what happened to 25, but... Whoa, it's kind of risky walking down there. No sidewalks. But I'm going to keep my distance from cars in the front of me so they don't splatter. People that are behind me are not going to be thrilled about that. I might be better off in the middle lane because it's more of the melting is towards the sidewalks. So my windshield looks clear, so that's I'm probably okay. So this is West Main Street, former Village Green to the left. Now it's Jack's Brick Oven Pizza. They have excellent food. They've been in business for a long time. And they just put out really, really excellent food. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I'm going to actually wait for this guy to turn because I do not want to risk ruining my lens right in the middle of driving. So more traffic down this end. Salem Street back there to the left. I covered that yesterday. All right, so we got a kind of a nice wide view here of heading into the city. The Norwich Fire Department to the left. But we're heading into, you know, down city, Norwich, Connecticut. But I covered the city yesterday. We got not all of it, but most of it. I didn't do Greenville. I did some of... Did I? No, I don't think I did Taffville. I mean, I can only do so much. I mean, time is limited, but I think, Greenville would be interesting. Greenville, Taffville. But I should do Laurel Hill. There's the Flatiron Building right there. Okay, so we got perfectly plowed roads in Norwich, as always. The Norwich, I say it all the time, the crew that The people that do the plowing, the clearing of the roads in Norwich that work for the city, you're not going to find anybody better anywhere in New England or anywhere. The country, probably. I mean, there's probably places out there that will match Norwich if they do a perfect job like Norwich does. But I mean, it's impressive. So let's head up to Laurel Hill. Go over this nice bridge. And we'll take a right. We've got the green arrow, and everything's working out in our favor. And I'm going to lay back a little bit here. Kind of going right into the sun. I want to hope that doesn't continue. Good. We're turning away from the sun. Great. So the exposure on the camera should be much better right now. And I'll just cruise very slowly. You know what I'm going to do? There's a road down here that should give me a wide panoramic view of the marina, the harbor. Let me see. I don't want to miss that turn. Right here. I mean, it's kind of off the beaten path, but I think it's well worth taking a look. Hopefully this is one way, because if it isn't, I got problems. I don't know if we can see over the... Well, I can. I don't know if this camera can see over there or not. But to the... Yeah, there's a lot of overgrowth. Boy, I wish somebody would cut those down, because you got spectacular views up here of the whole city and the harbor, and it's really incredible. But you have obstructed views. I don't know who owns that property, probably the railroad company or whatever. I don't know, but I'm just looking from this vantage point. I don't think you can see it. It's quite a view. That's River Avenue. And I'm going to get back on, sneak around this corner here. The Laurel Hill. Okay, let me see what this... Is this Laurel Hill Road or... Yeah, Laurel Hill Avenue. There's actually a Laurel Hill Avenue and a Laurel Hill Road that kind of blend into each other. A lot of, really old, beautiful old architecturally interesting houses up here. If I'm really feeling ambitious, I think I might go down the end. I'll go down to Norwich Hospital, turn around and head through Greenville. I'll just make a quick sweep, maybe head over to the Taffill area to do a sweep through, and that will cover a very significant portion of the city. Man, I think I missed a pretty cool view back there. Let me go through this, see if I can get back there. What is this? Harry Schwartz Manor. Let me drive through here. It looks like it's all been completely rehabilitated. Not necessarily rehabilitated, upgraded. Let's put it that way. A lot of, really significant improvements made. We'll get some views coming off this hill. We're behind those Quonset huts to the extreme right. But I think I just kind of want to grab a view. I'm going to show you something that's really cool. If I can. I mean, could be tricky with the snow and how well they plowed certain parking lots and things. There's the former Laurel Hill School right there, very quick. I have a video on that if you want to look at it. But let me get over here a little bit. To the right-hand side, it's partially snow-covered, is that Horton sphere. It is a massive metal Horton sphere. You don't see them around. There's somebody on my tail, which doesn't thrill me. But there's a view right there of, I mean, I realize it's through trees and everything, but the Thames River, and across the river, that would be, if you keep going up the hill, the house is up there, West Thames Street. But that Horton sphere, I kind of wanted to get that in there. And former Thermos factory. Now it's condominiums or, apartments, whatever. All right, let me back up. Let me get right over here. So right in front of us, I got a video on this thing. Generated a lot of interest. The Horton sphere. It's absolutely massive. It doesn't look that big on the screen right now, I'm sure, but I have a person that walks up to it, that touches it for perspective, so you kind of get an idea of how, massive that sphere is. You can see it now. During the, the spring, summer, fall, everything, it's kind of like obstructed. A lot of people don't even know it's there. People that live around here were telling me, wow, I did not know that thing existed. I'm going to go up and try to get another view. I know I'm supposed to be going to Norwich Hospital and turning around and doing all this stuff, but I think if I go up here and turn around, I could be mistaken, but I think there's a good view coming down this hill. Or, well, maybe not this hill, but another hill that I'm going to take. I think there's a left up here. Okay, this road is, this is one of your black ice potential situations we got here. So this is sanded and chemicals and everything. I can see the city drop down. All right, so I'm going to take a left right here. And this should give us at some point, a very wide panoramic view. Again, this is a wide-angle lens. You'll be able to absorb a lot of, scenery, but it's kind of way in the distance. And there is some obstructed views from those. I'm going to try to swing around. Some of those, it's kind of overgrown a little bit, but right there, that's the best I can do. Actually, is there anybody coming? Let me get a little closer. This is the best I can do right here for a super wide view. Let's freeze on that. Super wide view. There's the Horton sphere to the right in the distance, that giant bowling ball looking thing. But there's the city of Norwich, the harbor, the marina, the rolling hills, everything. Let me try to back out. Okay, so I'm glad I got that view with the snow and all that. I did not plan that, but I'm glad it happened. Head down to Norwich Hospital, and it's 3:01 p.m., so my time is limited. Let's see what I can do here. I got a red light, but there is right on red, so if there's nobody coming, good. Former VFW to the right. It's now unoccupied. Back on Laurel Hill Avenue, Route 12. Sunset Avenue to my left. There is a fire department up here. Laurel Hill Volunteer Fire Company Incorporated. Right-hand side. There are Thames View Apartments to the right back there. Many, many, many units overlooking the Thames River. If you happen to be lucky enough to get one of the, the units towards the end. All right, now I'm on Laurel Hill Road, so it went from avenue to road at some point back there. I'm going to just cruise through, take a quick cruise through the grounds of the former Norwich Hospital. I have several videos of me going into buildings, walking around the grounds, walking around the pond. I mean, some of these are real long. I try to cover every inch. But anyways, this is Norwich Hospital to the left and right. We're here. I don't know if you can see, there's a big building, older building. There used to be Martin House. To the right, they used to do lobotomies in a building back there. So we're in Norwich now, but right now we just crossed the threshold into Preston, Connecticut. Administration building to the right. I don't know if you can see this. I can't drive in to the grounds, but there are some buildings remaining. Gallup building is there, former Gallup building. There was a fire there recently. There was a fire in the Mitchell building on grounds back there relatively recently. So I think I can turn. I can take a left and turn. Yeah, I can turn around here. This is what is this place? Maybe there's a sign down. I'm just going to turn around. But I'm on the grounds, I believe, Norwich Hospital. Southeast area bus transit, maybe? Okay. Let me see what it says over here. This could be where the seat buses roll out of. Yeah. State of Connecticut Department of Transportation. Yeah, I think I can just turn around. It's kind of a nice view. It used to be Kettle. I mean, it's directly into the sun. Let me go right up to the field. It's probably going to be, the exposure is not going to be great on it, but straight ahead used to be Kettle building. Now it's nothing. It's a vacant, empty field. There's a big seat bus. If I went straight ahead right there, that would lead to what used to be a reservoir for Norwich Hospital. People used to swim there, patients, fish, picnics, barbecues, everything. So we're going to get back onto, head up to Laurel Hill, and then I'll go straight Central Avenue. I'll cover a little bit more territory. It's 3:06 p.m. I gotta start rolling, thinking of working my way back home. I'll take the long route. Boy, oh boy, that administration building is in horrific condition. I mean, it's worse than the last time I saw it. I think that vandals are like having a field day with this place. I mean, if you're going to walk around, it's trespassing, but if somebody was going to, nostalgia, look at the place they used to work or live or whatever, there was housing on grounds for staff. Buildings are still there. But if you're going to do that, that's one thing. I mean, it's, again, no trespassing, but if you're going to do that, that's one thing. If you're going to vandalize and trash the place, graffiti the buildings, bash in all the windows and destroy marble staircases and all of this type of thing. I don't get it. I mean, that's not something that ever made any sense to me. I'm sure there's explanations. But I hate to see it. Most of those buildings back there are going to be, at some point in the future, demolished. The administration building may be a protected, architecturally significant protected building. I don't know. I would have just, I would have thrown 8 feet of razor wire around it, 16 feet of deep razor wire around that thing, and assigned a 24/7 coverage to make sure nobody destroys the building. But it's too late now. It's ruined inside and out. I gotta lay back a little from this car in front of me. I don't want to get splashed. All right. So we're on Laurel Hill Avenue. It just converted from Laurel Hill Road to Avenue. So right around this area here, for some reason, it switches over. Basically, we're just going in the opposite direction. There's Laurel Tire. If they still are, there could be a different name. I'm not sure. His catchphrase was "on the hill, but on the level." A couple of times I went in there, I got flat tires. This is back in the days when flat tires were more common. Tires had tubes and whatever. It was a different world. But I went in there, and I told the guy, I was like, I got a flat tire. I'm running on my spare. It takes my flat tire, fixes it, no appointment, no nothing, on the spot. The guy charged me $6. I just handed him $6. No tax, no fancy, let's ring this thing up. Here's $6. I mean, I'm going back, okay, decades, but whatever. I don't think that gentleman's still running the place. If he is, I mean, he's probably in his 90s. So Norwich, city of Norwich to the left over there. I'll go over the viaduct and we'll head over to... I'll cruise through Greenville real quick. I can't do, comprehensive coverage. I mean, it's impossible. I'm just getting a kind of broad strokes here. I'm trying to think. I didn't cover Greenville yesterday at all. I do these drives. I forget where the heck I went one day to the next sometimes. I mean, you're driving over these roads over and over again. And sometimes the routes you take get a little confusing. So we're behind what used to be the YMCA. They're fixing it up. I'm excited about that project because they're doing a beautiful job. And my camera appears to be still functioning. I'm not sure that it is, but it appears to be. I mean, I can look at the screen on the back of the thing, and it's on. That doesn't mean it's recording, but I sure as heck hope it is. All right, let's make it through this green light. All right, so we're off the viaduct. And we're making our way towards Greenville. This is North Main Street. I'm going to slowly but surely make my way back to Norwich town. That big red building to the right, I've been told, way, way back, used to be Norwich Tech. When I say way, way back, I mean, you know, early 1900s probably, or maybe a little later, but... So North Main Street, we're not in Greenville quite yet, but we will be. Let's see. Okay, there's the sign right there. Welcome to Greenville. So we're in Greenville. Greeneville. The key is that middle E. Sometimes that's left out. There's always been confusion over that. St. Mary's Church to my left. Central Avenue. That's where we are right now. A snow-covered and cars enveloped in snow on Central Avenue. This is what it looks like late December 2025 after a snowstorm. The heart of Greenville right here. Greenville drugstore to the right. Bill Clinton, as president, was in that drugstore prior to making a speech at Slater Memorial on the grounds of NFA. He was active, you know, he was the president. It's not like the former president or a person campaigning to be president. He was president of the United States, made a stop at Greenville drugstore, gave that speech. I was lucky enough to, I was in the second row. I had a connection that got me into that speech. I had tickets, shook hands with the President of the United States twice. When he came in, shook hands, and when he went outside, I noticed there was a bunch of people gathered out there, and we all went out. And here comes Bill Clinton shaking hands, talking to everybody. I mean, just regular guy talk, like, hey, how you doing? You know. I remember a woman said, you know, you look a lot thinner in real life. You know, Bill Clinton was like, hey, I'm in good shape. I run. You know, he's... It was a fun, once-in-a-lifetime experience. But yeah, one time when Bill Clinton was campaigning for president, he went to the Norwich 10-pin bowling alley and, you know, bowled a couple of pins. I'm back on North Main Street, by the way. Yeah, he actually bowled. Campaigning. This is way early in the campaign. I'm going to pull into, just to get you a look at Vacatura's Grinders Pizza, Vacatura's Bakery, right there. We're here. It's kind of a must-do situation when you're here in this area. Wow, Gulf 279. Wow, it just went. I'm looking at the gas. It went from 279 to 283. I hope it. Well, wait a minute. Now it went back to 279. I don't know. Maybe they're flashing different grades of gas. So we're on Boswell Avenue right now. I'm heading towards Taffville, still in Greenville. Big cemeteries to the left and to the right. 3:16 p.m. If I'm not mistaken, we're officially in Taffville. You used to be able to drive down this hill, or, I mean, you always were able to drive down the hill, but right about here. You could see the drive-in. They had a big screen. Now it's a golfing range. They had a huge, drive-in. They had, Hollywood blockbuster movies. I mean, but you could see the movie. I mean, Dairy Queen, a really, really old Dairy Queen to my right. It's been there ever since I can remember. Many, many decades. Behind it used to be a miniature golf course for a few years. And then they went out of business. Whatever. It was popular in the beginning. After a few years, it just faded into obscurity. And they just, there could be remnants of it back there. Remnants of that old miniature golf course. But now I'm on Norwich Avenue. I'm heading towards Penema Mill Apartments, and I'm working my way back to where I started the video. And assuming this camera is actually still recording, I'll do one full take. I started at Shell gas station, and we'll end it in that area. I don't know if I'm going to pull into Shell. Whoa. Yeah, I pulled out in front of somebody. It's tough. I mean, you're in kind of a snowbank. If I took a right, I would hit Jewett City eventually. I'd just go straight, and that would bring me to Jewett City. We're not going to do that. We did that the other day. I didn't go into Jewett City, but I went to Home Depot, which is in Lisbon. Lisbon Tire to the left. Great mechanic in there. A bunch of guys. They can fix cars like nobody's business. To the right, those beautiful towers, Penema Mill. I'm going to take a cruise through there, just so we can possibly grab some footage of that incredible building right there. I love this. I always love this mill. And it was kind of in disrepair, and then they fixed it up. Some big company bought the thing, rehabbed it from top to bottom, made it into beautiful apartments, and it's now packed. Talk about success. I mean, you went from an empty, massive, one of the biggest factories in the country at the time, to an empty structure just sitting there year after year after year. Company comes in, buys it, redoes it top to bottom, and now it's utilized. That's the way to, rock and roll, folks. That's what you do. You get these old factories, you convert them. I don't care where they are. There's a housing shortage. It's just got to be done. There's so many things I could potentially be looking at, but I got to get back home. I'm pressed for time. This could be a little tricky getting out of here. All right, nobody to my right. To the left. Ooh, this is very, very, very quick. Okay. Whew. It's one thing with snow. It's somebody's big snow banks looking around. It's not easy. All right, so this is really the Taffil, the village with all the, the mill houses and everything. There's an old structure to the left right there, that brick building. Beautiful. There's a pharmacy in there. Let me catch the name of it. Let me get the name. What is the name of that pharmacy? Nutmeg Pharmacy. Okay, they were voted best pharmacy in Norwich. And the service and the, customer service and the way they treat the people that come in there and everything and help them and guide them in the right direction. They're the best of the best in Norwich, and they have been for a long time, but this year, I remember 2025, selected #1. A lot of pharmacies are, giant corporations and, chains and things like this. These guys here, you get that old world charm and assistance, and, they help everybody. This is Providence Street. Let's take a quick look at Waquanic School. Enter only. Good. Let me swing around here. Get a look at it. Wow, the sun's coming out. That's not ideal for me, but whatever. Waquanic School. This is it says magnet. So this is a magnet school right there. It's a little icy in certain spots. All right, let me swing around, point this thing right over at, I believe that's Sacred Heart Church right there. Sacred Heart Church in Taffville, the Taffville section of Norwich, Connecticut. Louis Pabon Dance Art Center back there. Taffville has a rich history. I mean, you should, if you have any interest whatsoever, go on, like Wikipedia, look up Taffville, research. It's really an incredible history and a lot of great stories, and I'm trying to weave my way. It's a little tight in spots because, people can park on the street in front of their homes and apartments back there. So the sun is kind of burning its way through some of that overcast. So our timing is good for this video, for me to be heading back to Norwich town. I'm on Merchants Avenue at the moment. I'll be jumping onto Harlan Road shortly. So let's see, driving into the sun doesn't thrill me. I'm going to try to figure out a way. I mean, right now I have shade, so that's okay. That's not going to last. Direct sun. Okay, turn a little bit. That helps a little. I'm just looking at the exposure on the back of that video camera. So yeah, Harlan Road. Let me see if I can weave my way over to get some side light. I mean, I like, if I could tailor make, the lighting, it would be super overcast every day that I do these videos. That's when I do them. I mean, I do them in bright, direct overhead sun in the summer because it doesn't cast crazy shadows unless I go out super late in the day. But I think the shadows right now are probably severely to my right, so this probably looks really nice right here. As I drive down Wayne Street, and we take a left onto Stewart Road very briefly, jump onto Canterbury Turnpike, and make my way back to roughly where I started the video. 327. Yeah, I gotta get back. 2 days in a row, 2 videos. Wow, that's pretty good for me in the winter. All right, so this off Stewart Road, we're on to Canterbury Turnpike right now. We're just going to cruise back through Norwich town. But in the summer, I normally go out with direct overhead lighting on you know, sunny day, and I don't have to worry about shadows or anything like that. That, for my taste, ruins the video. But me driving directly with the sun, like this is, you know, sunset is less than an hour from now. So I'm driving directly into the sun. This will either make for real dramatic lighting or just real dark exposure of the road and properly exposed sun as I complete the drive off of Canterbury Turnpike onto East Town Street, a familiar location to many of my subscribers or people that enjoy my videos. Historic buildings right here, Norwich Town. That house right in front of us, that's brick. That was built, I mean, it could be late 17. What does it say? 17, let me see, 93. So that's a 1793 house back there. A big brick house. I mean, whoever had that built in 1793 had to be very wealthy, very prominent. I mean, that is not a, you know, something that you just toss up. That is a meticulously built showplace, especially for 1793. I mean, I would love to know the history of the occupants of that property. I'm sure it's, with some research, can be done. There's Sacred Heart Church back there to the left. West Town Street, I'm going to hit the area near Shell gas station, and that's when this video will cease to exist. Look at that electric Amazon vehicle to the left. They deliver 7 days a week. And a lot of times they use electric vehicles, which is really neat. So we're getting close to the completion of this particular drive. It's 3:31 p.m. right now. We'll get this red light, cruise up a little bit. I mean, if I want to get really, really crazy, I could go to the exact location of the place where I started this video. That's assuming it's still recording. I hope it is. I mean, but I don't know that it is. That's kind of a, you know, this is in a way a test of this new wire that I put on this camera. I know it's crazy, but I'm gonna go to the exact location that I started this video, and that's where I'll terminate it. That's where I will shut this thing down. I'll call it quits. I'll pull the plug. And that's coming up real soon as I pull into Shell gas station. Ooh, a little slippery right there. And let me get to, I'm going to get to the exact pump. I literally got to go to the exact spot right here. As a matter of fact, let me throw it in park. I was right here. Did a complete 360, one take. That's the end of the video.